What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And in this video here, I'm going to share with you a recent success story of mine. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I think that this story, by sharing it with you, will give you something to look forward to with your own clothing brand. And I also want to make you feel like, I'm not too far ahead of you and that I still go through successes of my own that aren't, crazy big, but that still make me feel really, really good and make me motivated to keep going. Okay, so I want to share this with you. I think it's really going to inspire you and motivate you to keep crushing it with your own clothing brand. Here it is. This channel here is sponsored by my buds over at Brand Crowd, and if you need designs made for your clothing brand, then I seriously recommend you check them out. They have a tool called the Logo Maker tool, which is where they have a huge library of already professionally designed logos that you can customize. You can add your own fonts, your own layout to them. All that's free to try. Then if you like the logo that you've made, then you can decide to purchase it. If you're interested, follow the link in the description because it'll give you a big discount. I feel like I don't talk enough on this channel about what my clothing brand's about, what I'm really doing here. And for those of you guys who don't know, my clothing brand represents rural Canada, which means that my audience is living in rural Canada. So all of the orders that I'm getting from my website are going to remote locations throughout Canada. So I'm sending orders to, small towns in northern Saskatchewan in Canada, which is like a really tiny place with only like 1,000 or 2,000 people. Basically, all the orders that I'm sending out across Canada, because that's what my brand represents, is going to these really small remote places. And the story that I want to share with you here is that I live in a place called Port Credit, Ontario, which is a really small area here in Ontario. And I was with my friends here in Port Credit, and we were going for a walk to the pubs. We were just going to go hang out for a bit. And it's a short walk, and there's a park that you cross, and there was an event going on. So we decided to walk through this event. It was basically like live music outside and a bunch of different tents set up for food. And we're walking through this event, just checking it out. And I walked by a guy that I'd never seen before in my entire life. I had no idea who he was, and he was wearing a K-Bud t-shirt. I'm pretty sure it was actually this one, or it might have been a tank top. And for me, because I'm sending out all these orders all across Canada, and it's very rare that I'll be sending out orders that are so local to me right here, it's rare that I run into people who are actually wearing my clothing brand, right? Because it's going all over Canada, and Canada's a huge place. And so I walked by this guy wearing K-Bud, and I just was like, K-Bud, oh my God. I started screaming at the guy. We ended up high-fiving. I never ended up telling him, who I was or that I actually started the clothing brand. He had no idea who I was. He was like, who the hell is this guy? And I remember my friends being like, wow, that was pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, that was sweet. And I didn't really, get too hyped up in the moment with my friends about it. I mean, I was really excited inside. I didn't really let them know. But it was an absolutely amazing feeling to actually see somebody out in public wearing your clothing that you made, that you don't know. This person was online, they found out about you somehow, maybe through their friends or whatever, and they bought your clothing, and you run into them and you see it out in the world, them wearing that clothing. And I think that this is something that every clothing brand really strives to get to that point where you're out in public and you see somebody wearing your brand, somebody that you didn't even know, that just found out about you because of word of mouth, and it's really spreading. And that's the feeling that I got. And I really just wanted to share that with you and let you know that that is something that is so worth working towards. Up until this point, I've had friends tell me that they saw somebody wearing it. I've had friends take pictures of people wearing it. I've had friends take pictures of our stickers on the back of a truck or on the back of a car. And I thought it was so cool. But it was a completely different feeling to see it with my own eyes. And now, besides just leaving this video here with an inspiring story for you that you really can't take anything away from, I really want to end this video off by just hammering in the point that word of mouth happens at a slow pace for clothing brands. And the reason for that is because the way word of mouth works is basically the more extreme, the more intense something is, the faster that word of mouth will travel. So like literally if a girl's kidnapped, or if somebody's kidnapped or something, or somebody just got shot, the word of mouth will travel really, really quickly because it's important that everybody spreads that to all their friends, and it's this instinct that we have. But when it's a clothing brand and it's just spreading something that's cool or a cool story, there's a certain pace to it. It's a slow pace, and it takes time for friends to tell their friends about it, okay? So it's all right if it's taking some time. It took me a long time to get to this point where I finally saw somebody in public wearing my clothing local to me. Okay, it took me a while to get to this point, and that's okay. It happens at a slow pace. Be patient, okay? This is a marathon, and it's not a sprint. It's a marathon because this takes real stamina for you to succeed. And I know that sounds like the most cliche thing you've ever heard, and I honestly don't even really like talking about how you need to be patient and how you need to, how it's a marathon, not a sprint, because it sounds so cliche and you hear that all the time. But in reality, like, let's get away from whether this is cliche or not. You really do need to exercise a lot of patience here. You need to really slow it down, focus on the process, and focus on building this thing over the long amount of time. That doesn't mean that you don't want to put in a lot of effort every day, but you need to be aware that just because you're putting in a lot of effort right now, it doesn't mean that those results are going to come tomorrow or the next day. The results may come, a year from now or 2 years from now. Okay, so this is a slow build, and just focus on sticking to a process that works for a long amount of time, and you will eventually get there. I hope you got a lot out of this video here. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and drop your brand down there as well. I like to check out the brands that are watching these videos. And I've recorded a new clothing brand marketing masterclass video that's 100% free to watch. All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass, and you can watch the whole thing for free. And I wanted to let you know about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description below. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.